Hello, Chiquis.
Welcome to Chatty Amigas, a podcast where two friends approach everyday problems and find practical solutions.
We are your hosts. I'm Mafe.
And I'm Ella.
Finally, part 2 is here.
Woo! Part 2!
Yes.
Thanks for waiting.
Thank you for tuning in again. And just a disclaimer, if you listen to part 1, part 2 again, we are not therapists, doctors, nor are we sociologists. We're just two friends discussing everyday relationships and finding practical solutions through research we have done.
And remember that the beauty of life is that you can make your own decisions.
Yes, so you know what? Let's just go straight into tea time. Not a minute more of waiting.
Yes.
Tea time.
So I think with that said, I think it's fair to go into tea time.
Let's do tea time.
Tea time.
So tea time, it's when we answer one question that has been submitted to us by one of our listeners.
Today's question was sent to us by Camila. Thank you,
Thank
Camila.
you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thanks for sending us the question.
Yes.
And her question is, how can I get along with my mother-in-law? It's a really good question.
So I ain't married, so I got nothing to say.
Yes, you do. Stop it. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss, we did some research in 9 creative and stress-free ways to bond with your mother-in-law. I can also give something that I think of an opinion that would work. And at the end of the day, depending on the relationship you have, obviously we're not there, we don't see, we're also not therapists, but sometimes there can be an issue with jealousy. Between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. So what we're going to do is we're not going to go over the jealous article, but we will be linking it down below. If you feel your situation's more on that severe level, feel free to take a gander at it. We really liked the information there, but we're going to keep this on a positive note
Yes.
for everyone else. You know, we're going through hard times nowadays. But one thing that really helps me is, so it's difficult because the mom-in-law and the daughter-in-law are different, right? You have different personalities usually, or sometimes you're similar. I don't know. They say the guy marries his mom and the girl marries their dad. Apparently in my marriage, that is the case. To a degree, believe it or not. So literally, I feel that when things get tough, remember how amazing your husband is. Right? You love him. He's a good man. That's why you're with him. If it wasn't for her, he would not exist. You have so much gratitude. You should give her all that gratitude because she raised this man that you love. So when things get tough, just remember she can't be a bad person because she raised someone that's so good and kind to me. That's one of my favorite people in the world. So keeping that in mind helps. Also, creating certain boundaries is awesome, but I think that's just important in any relationship in general. Also, just being peaceful. So if your mother-in-law says something mean or that says something that just gets under your skin, don't fight back ever, because at the end of the day, she's not your mom, she's his mom, so he can say whatever he wants. She's gonna forgive and forget. She might forgive you, she will never forget what you said, and you don't want that at all. I do have a friend that told me way before I was even dating Eric, before I knew Eric even existed, when my friend said, when you get married, make sure you don't go to the same religious activities together. Keep it separate. Try not to be too close to your mother-in-law. Live further away. It'll promote peace. Mm-hmm. So from some of my friends, I hear that's helpful when things are more tough. But just be nice, be respectful, keep boundaries. And so, you know what I think is also important with big weird things, let your husband take care of it. It's his mom, not your mom.
Right. So. I think that it's also important to not push the relationship. It's mm-hmm. okay if you don't hit it off right away, and you don't have to become attached at the hip, because again, like you said, the son and the mom, that is their relationship, that is their bond. You're an added on family member, right? And that's okay if you don't have a super strong relationship right off the bat, but trying to keep things peaceful, definitely, like you said, don't fight back, but nevertheless, you're all family. You're gonna have issues as a family because every family has issues.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing it in a, trying to find the good in everybody, not fighting back, being positive. That's
Yeah, and
always
just to
helpful.
be understanding, like, she's now second place. She was first for so many years and now she's not. So it's an adjustment for her, especially in the beginning. But honestly, just never fight back. Just let it be. She will eventually, get it, even if she might not say anything. And if things get really weird, have your husband talk to her. 100% feel like that should happen. It is his mom after all.
Yes.
And sometimes a little space is okay too. Be nice, be polite, a little space. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the research Mela did was on brides.com, and it's on 9 creative and stress-free ways to bond with your mother-in-law. And the first one, I honestly didn't even think about this, but it's one of the most obvious ones, I believe. It's cook
Mhm.
together.
Mhm.
And that is very true, because the best way to reach someone's heart is with food, in my opinion.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's a great place to start bonding, offering to help, offering to clean up, or, offer to you, like for you to make the meal, or if she's cooking, help out in any way that you can, or how do you ask her how you can lend a hand. Um, and I thought that one of the tips was really good. Ask your mother-in-law to teach you how to make a recipe that's been around for generations, or that she cooked while your partner was growing up, because that's going to create an intimate bonding experience. And you're going to inherit a valuable family tradition. And the best thing about that too is that you learn something good, something yummy that your husband loves. So
Mhm.
even better.
And you bond.
Yes. Oh yeah, that too. That's the whole point of this, right?
Yes.
Again, I'm married. Sorry.
And then another tip is ask her questions about her life. So this may seem simple, but it's super important because often we can see our husband's family as an extension of him, but we forget that they have their own lives, histories, and passions. So ask your mother-in-law more about herself. It's good because then you can see a different side of her. So instead of looking at her as somebody like possessive or always there, if that is your case, seeing that she is a human that has like a life or has experiences or stories to share, I think can create that ice breaking thing you might want, create a bond. Um, it's nice, but do it in a gentle way so you don't come off like you're prying information out of her,
Right.
and see if you could get her to open up about herself. I think starting off with small questions is okay. Like maybe it could be like, let me think. I probably would start off with, what's the one thing you love the most about your son that most people don't know about him, or something like that.
Something simple. We just talked about cooking. What's your favorite dish that you've cooked, as a family
Yes.
when you were little, and why do you like that dish? Does
Yeah.
it symbolize something to your family, to you, to your generation? Something simple.
Yeah. So either or. The reason why I thought of mine was because it'll create like a deeper, like, oh, that's different. You know what I mean? Not everyone asks things like that, and it can open up, I feel, a side of her, like you see what she treasures the most, and then you could like feed off of that in life. It's like
True.
a simple question, but I feel heavily packed answer.
Yeah, that's very true.
But yeah.
That's a good one. So another tip is to go to a movie or a play together, because if you just have such a hard time making small talk, or you just don't know what to ask, or if you just had that rough of a relationship right off the bat, and you don't feel very comfortable asking questions because you feel that she might just take it in the wrong way.
Or
I
attack
think,
you.
yeah, I think that going to like a play or a movie, it's a really smart suggestion, because you're spending time together and experiencing something together, but you're not talking, or keeping it to a very
Mhm.
minimum. and you're just watching something, and afterwards you have something very easy to talk about: the show, the movie, the plot, the characters, what you thought about it, what she got from it. I think that that just will also give you a little insight of who she is, or how she perceives things. I think that'll be a good way to get to know her better.
And fourth one, and this one is a good idea. I just think it just depends on what you ask, but ask for her advice.
Oh.
Because they're saying another great way to build a connection is to make yourself vulnerable. And I think this can be really scary for a lot of daughter-in-laws. Like, there's nothing wrong to be a person or be a human. Sometimes women, older women, like a mother-in-law, might feel that you're just ready to attack. So if you show that you have a vulnerable side and that you have a soft human side, it might bring the tension down. This is for most cases, I feel. If your mother-in-law plays off of vulnerability, then that's obviously a different situation. And that's just different in itself. Like, therapy probably needs to happen there. But if it's just a normal everyday relationship, it's a good way to show yourself vulnerable. You don't have to open up about your biggest, deepest, darkest fears. Just asking a little advice that can help initiate a bond between you two people. It doesn't have to be about something big and life-changing. It can be, just depends on what's going on. But reaching out and asking for help might soften things up, and also shows that you respect her opinion. Whether it's asking for a recipe or advice for problems at the office, is a good place to start. So like, one thing I asked my mother-in-law in the beginning on purpose was, how do you remove, so my husband, he wears dress shirts, and sometimes dress shirts.
Okay, dress shirts.
Yes. Did you understand dresses?
No, I couldn't. I didn't understand the word dress. I was like, what did she just say? Something shirts. What kind of shirts?
Dressed up ones. So, and sometimes it gets stained. So it's like, how do you remove the stains from that? And like, I didn't grow up with my dad at home, so I didn't know how to remove it. And I could have easily Googled it. I could have asked my mom, but I decided to go to my mother-in-law for that, to create a bond.
Smart.
So that's what I did. So it could be small advice like that. It could be like, oh, when you got married, what helped you adjust being married, or like living, I don't know, something that you can, it just depends on the relationship you have with your mother-in-law.
Yeah, little by little. So another thing that could help out increase that bond or make that bond a little stronger is to host a family board game night. And that's just fun. I like board games. I do. They can be fun, and they could be like a good way to bond with people. But just make sure that your family is not too competitive, and then it becomes like now you're fighting over who's winning, and you lied and you cheated it, right? Just something little, like it could be just a small like group activity before you get to like one-on-one and stuff like that. But even if you're just playing a board game, it could really tell you about a person. You could really get to know somebody by how they react playing a game. Somebody once told me that if I was ever in doubt about a man, like that I was dating or trying to date, is just to see how he treated like the wait staff, like waitresses and hosts and stuff like that at a restaurant. And I think that playing a board game with a family could really have big insights about how your mother-in-law really is, or how the rest of the whole family dynamics based on how they react on this board game or how they play and such.
And play Monopoly will tell you a lot about someone. Play Monopoly, if anything.
We're not getting paid, Monopoly, but if you want to sponsor us, you can.
Yes, please. Number 6, plan a spa day. I love this. I love spa.
Yes.
If your mother-in-law likes a bit of pampering, a spa day is another opportunity for bonding that doesn't have to involve a lot of emotional sharing. So you could book massages, manicures, for a get together with her for a special, her anniversary. She has an anniversary with your father-in-law, something nice. Everyone feels better when they're more relaxed, so they may find the conversation flows easier than you think.
Yeah, I think
especially when there's a little wine involved to relax the feelings.
Not too much wine, because you don't want to get too
Just a little bit. You want to make the heart rejoice, not go overboard.
Yeah, you don't want to get like too crazy. Now you're both like sharing your deep secrets, and now that bond became too close, and you gotta get out of there, girl. The next one was to talk about your partner's childhood. I think that one goes along with asking like questions, right? You want to ask if you really want to get to know them better. You know, you ask the mom, how was him growing up? Little things like that. Maybe what like looking at baby pictures, stuff like that, because there can be often a weird like underlying sense of competition between you and your like mother-in-law, like you said earlier. She was number one forever and a day, and now she's not. So it could be a little bit of that. So of course, knowing that, you know, she raised them and she knew them way back then, so chances are that you're gonna get really good information out of asking about him, you know, when he was growing up. So um looking at old photos, or even like swapping embarrassing stories about your partner, that could be funny. But of course, she just did, so it doesn't get to a point where you're like making fun of them or belittling them. You don't ever want to cross that
Yeah, because it's her son.
that board.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
exactly. And you just don't, I don't think that you would ever want to treat your husband that way anyways.
No.
But that just shows that you're like, you understand and you know how important her relationship with him is, and how important the history that they both have is. And so understanding that and asking about it could help her understand that you care. It can go a long way.
I like doing that with my mother-in-law. It's nice to see her reaction when she talks about Eric when he was a baby. It's nice seeing her eyes
Their lights
glistening.
lit up. Yeah.
So I like doing that, and then I learn a lot of things that are funny, or a little bit about his, a certain part of his history that he doesn't remember because he was like 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice. And if you ever get kids in the future, it's kind of nice to know what may or may not happen. So I'm a very big fan of history, and people are never different. They're always the same. So that's like a nice preview, I guess, or like a look into the future of what your possible future kids might be like.
That's true.
If you have them, but if this is something you choose to do. But yeah, I like doing that with my mother-in-law. Works really well. And then I'm sorry, to me, I'm next.
It's you. Yes.
Number 8, participate in one of her hobbies. So it doesn't really matter what she does. She might like gardening, rock climbing, hiking. It doesn't matter. Show an interest in your mother-in-law's hobbies, because it can be a good way to have peace offering. If they're a private person, or you sense that they prefer a solo endeavor, it may be best to steer clear. But if they're up to to try it with a partner, try volunteering to join. So
that'll be
something
nice. Gardening, pottery, I think those are nice. Those can lead to very fulfilling like stories, or just my mind is blank. I can picture what I'm trying to say, but I can't say it out loud. It could be very good, like foundation blocks.
There we go. She was trying to like charade it. Like, I don't get it. Is that a vase? A vase, a statue, a sculpture? Nope, foundation. Blocks. That is not a block. That was a curvaceous circle.
I was trying to, because I was actually thinking of like a road, like
that is not a road. That was a
foundation
circle, ma'am.
Road. And anyways,
you're flailing. You're learning from me.
No,
she's gonna be hitting her mic soon.
So, no, I use my hands a lot to talk, but for the podcast, I just sit here and I just talk. But in person, I'm a very animated person.
What are you doing now? You're flailing.
Well, I'm explaining to you that I'm a very animated person in person. But for the podcast, because people can't see me, I guess I'm just like,
oh, you flail. You flail. You just don't flail as vigorously towards the face.
I just do a little bit down here.
I used to be worse.
Just down here on the down low, a little flailing. Actually, yeah, I like that word, flailing.
Flailing.
But
anyways, going back, what are we talking about? Going for Oh no, doing a bonding thing with her. So like what my mother-in-law and I do, we love to have tea together. Believe it or not, we'll go out for tea, but not like Starbucks. Like we'll go to an actual tea house that has like British style tea with the pretty little pastries and puffs and
You
whatnot.
took me there one time. It was the best time of my life.
See, it's nice and it's very girly and it's,
I
my
felt like a
mom and my sister
princess.
don't like tea. So yeah, it
Oh,
makes you feel like a princess.
I wish
So,
we had dressed up that day. I think I had just come from the airport, right?
yeah, you
So
did.
I was wearing jeans and just a t-shirt and my hair pulled back, but it was nice.
It's nice. I don't judge you there. It's fine. They're closed now. I don't think they're opening it again.
Oh,
But I
well,
found another
that's
tea
just
spot by my house. So
okay.
whenever my mother-in-law comes to see me, I'm gonna take her there. But we tried a few in the area and it's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Just
good.
something fun and girly. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last suggestion for our tea time portion is to go for a walk, a good walk, fresh air, that just helps getting the conversation flowing. Maybe because a lot of us like to do like our best thinking when we're moving, or just the outdoors give us a gentle boost of endorphins. You could talk about the trees, the birds, wherever you are, right? So that just could help kind of get that informal talk going. And then just walking, it doesn't have to be like we're doing this because we're gonna bond and we're gonna talk, right? You're just walking and
Remember,
settling.
no guilt trip. We learned this, guys.
That's right. So you're just walking and you're just kind of talking and you're taking the time, general questions here and there. So little things could help out. So just remember that everybody has a different relationship with their mother-in-law, and it might be that you will never be super close. She could maybe become like your second mother, right? But just taking the opportunities to bond when you can, it's just gonna help you feel like you're on the same team. You both just want what's best for your husband at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So you both love him. So you are on the same team. So just
Yeah.
let it happen naturally. Don't force it.
Start
But
small and build it up.
yeah, definitely spending some time together helps out
Naturally. Don't
naturally.
force it. Yeah. A lot of patience. Also have a lot of patience. Patience. Let things go. Remember, if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't be amazing like he is. Let it go. Patience. And do little things. Start small and carry it from there. So hopefully we have been of some help, Camila, and anyone else really that might be wondering, oh yeah, how do you do that? Just do your best every day. You both love the same person. Just remember that.
That's right. Very good. So I think that's a good place to end or tea time portion. So that
Yes.
wraps up the tea time portion for today. If you would like to have one of your questions featured on one of our upcoming episodes, please go on our website and fill out the portion under tea time. Send us a DM on social media at Chatty Amigas, or send us a message directly under the tea time Q&A portion on Spotify if you listen on Spotify.
So now we will be discussing 8 easy ways to improve your mother-daughter relationship.
We're gonna give you the solution now.
Hey. Because sometimes even the best of relationships have their tiffs and their taffs. So this is how you can help it go by smoothly and nicely. So should I carry on the first 4?
Please
Do you
do.
want me to do that? I will. Number 1, set realistic expectations for your relationship. Remember, no one is perfect. We do not live in a perfect world. We all have, opinions. There's chaos. Some just, while others will merely tolerate each other, some of them are just like crazy. And some are just best friends. So regardless of it, if you're looking to improve your relationship, just be realistic about it. Okay.
Yes.
Not every mom and daughter will be best friends. And you know what? That's okay. It happens. People have different personalities. what can be sad though is if you're putting your hopes up for something that's never going to happen and then being disappointed if it doesn't. So like I said earlier, accept each other for who they are. Like accept your mom for who she is, accept your daughter for who she is. She's never going to change. Just make peace with it, because the faster you do, the faster and easier your life will be, and the more peaceful it can, and then the more you can do nice bonding, happy things. Like you can focus on the good times.
Right.
So that's something, set the realistic expectations.
That's right. So going right along with that, what's going to help too is finding common interests, whether like you both like to go hiking or shopping or getting like manicures or whatever activity you both like to do together. That is going to help build a good relationship, because spending quality time, it shouldn't feel like work. It's just something easy to ensure that you can spend good time together doing something that you both enjoy. That's gonna build a good bond and a good relationship. And if for whatever reason you just absolutely cannot find something you both like, or that you like in common, then just go ahead and try something that's new for the both of you. Who knows, maybe you'll both end up liking pottery making immediately, or maybe you both like to go snowboarding or embroidering. I don't know.
We're going rock climbing.
Can you imagine? Can you see my mom rock climbing with me? Can you see me rock climbing?
Nope.
Nope.
Actually, I could see your mom rock climbing.
So?
With all the gear and stuff, and somebody there guiding her. I could see her taking very.
I don't know. She's afraid of heights.
Oh, never mind. I didn't know that about her.
Would you want to do it? Because I was like, what can my mom and I do that we've never done? Rock climbing. Oh, your mom, yeah, I could totally see that. Like,
my mom would.
Let's go. I could see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No second thought, just going at it.
We'll get back to you guys. We'll ask our moms and then we'll post about it.
Oh no, I know my mom does. I don't have to ask her.
Do it, Mafe. Go rock climbing. Beatriz, tú vas a ir en las piedras con tu hija. How do you say climb?
Escalar.
Vas a escalar las piedras con su hija y después pueden sacar una foto. Yes. Okay, Beatriz. Okay. I said in English, I said, Beatrice, go rock climbing with your daughter and then take pictures.
That'll be basically
fun. You should do it, and then we'll post about it.
Don't people don't hold me up to this expectation.
We're doing it.
No,
we're doing it.
May never do it. Now people are gonna come.
Why?
Like,
why wouldn't you do it?
Where's the picture of you and your mom rock climbing?
Why wouldn't you go? Just go. You live in the middle of a million rocks.
I know.
Good God, girl. You could do it for free.
I'm just gonna have her like climb a tiny rock, and I go down on the ground and take a picture, and it looks like this ginormous thing. Oh man, that's hilarious. Next one, moving us. Go ahead.
Next tip. Okay. It is to pick your battles. So sometimes you're better off to agree to disagree. Because you have to remember, mothers and daughters usually were raised in a different era. And they also have different experiences in life, because, what they go through, helped mold who they are. So you and your mom might have a different idea about what a career should look like, a relationship, or parenting. And there's honestly nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But the important key is to identify that neither of you is going to probably change the mind, and to agree to respect the other's opinions. And it's important to do it without judgment or hostility. And if you think she's crazy, it's fine. Just don't show it. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. Just keep it in your head sometimes. You rather be happy than right. You rather have peace than be right. And let's say it again. Let's mantra for this show. Accept her for who she is. She's not going to change. And the faster you accept it, the happier you will be. And the quicker you can to do nice things together.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Very, very well said. We're all different. It's okay. Sometimes it's just best not to say things. And I think we're gonna touch on another one later on. And so I'm not gonna say my opinion on this, because we're got one of the points I'll talk about.
Oh, okay.
So the next one is to learn to forgive. And if you guys do not know that holding on to resentment science has found that actually is very bad for you. Holding on to resentment is just overall terrible for your health. It increases blood pressure, heart rate, your nervous system, so you could have higher chances to having a heart attack. So learning to live a peaceful and forgiving life will improve overall your health because it's gonna reduce your stress levels. So if your physical health is better, your mental health will also be better. So we don't want to let the anger build up because it could also like bleed over into other relationships. If you're resenting your mom or something, that could automatically start coming out like to your spouse or manifest by you yelling at your children or like the clients at work, stuff like that. You don't want to let that anger build up. So changing your perspective and just learning to breathe through the issues, learning to not take it personally, be a duck, let it roll off your back, right? Don't let anything get under your skin. It's just gonna help you let go of the resentment.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of things to help out, like a meditation app, learning how to breathe. Those types of things could really help out.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be mad at your mom for judging you and then take it on your kids because you're upset. That's not healthy. Like,
Yep.
let's not do that, please. We all know it's easier said than done, but if you put things in practice, it is always possible.
Mhm.
You're never too old to better your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another key factor, work on your communication. It's so important because in every relationship, communication is key to success.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
no one here is a mind reader. Mommy is not going to understand what you're thinking and vice versa. So being open with each other about how you're feeling is a nice way to avoid that oh so common thing where a minor issue becomes a major issue because you didn't nip it in the bud soon enough. So talk about it. And when someone shares their feeling, this is how I feel. Don't be like, no, you don't. You don't feel like that. You feel like this because I know you. No,
Mhm.
stop that. Stop it. Just
Yep,
accept it and carry on. Please.
exactly.
For the life of God. For the love of God, just do that.
Exactly. So the next one was to set and maintain boundaries. And
I
we've,
like how they like put it in parentheses and maintain because everyone will set it and then no one maintains it. Like, just do it. Just keep it.
right. And as we've talked, we need to have boundaries to have a good foundation, good blocks of building a good relationship. So of course with family it's always a little bit different, but having those boundaries and maintaining like a healthy distance while still being a part of each other's life is just very, very important. So a therapist called Irina Firstein, sorry if I mispronounce, tells us that boundaries are a way to get ahead of familiar drama by creating situations that you feel comfortable and safe in. So the boundaries allow you to call the shots so you can avoid unwanted outbursts at the dentist or eye rolls at the dinner table. So just be open, talk about things that if there are certain things that are specific that people do or say that are hurtful, then you can talk about it because it could just be anything that doesn't make you feel right. So and you can be honest, right? Tell them, I won't be around. I'm not gonna come if you keep talking to me like that, or if you keep bringing that one topic up. I'm not gonna come. I'm not gonna be around, or I don't like this. So it's
Yeah.
just
And then do it. Like, you can't say you're not going to do it. You're going to do something and then not do it because then what's the point?
right.
And it's nice to warn them before you do it because it's a loving thing.
And I liked how it said just even setting like small simple rules to avoid potential like issues, right, or outbursts. Like if you know that your mom is gonna be mad because you buy the organic lemons at Whole Foods and agree to only shop together at Trader Joe's or at another store, or don't tell her how much you spend for the lemons. Or if you cannot stand that your daughter spends hours scrolling through Instagram or just on her phone, just request a no phone policy after dinner. Something fair, something healthy, some good boundaries are gonna be the key points to be able to remain part of each other's life.
With that, working on your listening skills is also extremely important. It goes hand in hand with communication. You know, the thing is, thoughtful listening is very important. You have to be a better listener, or try to be a better listener than you are a speaker. Before you give a response, when someone has a comment to say or says something that upsets you, pause. Remember the power of no. In our second episode, we just keep referring to it a lot because it just was pretty, had amazing points, I feel. Before you accept something, just wait a second before you say yes. Sometimes it's okay to say the no. It's kind of the same idea here. So before you give an answer because you're upset or because of the situation, just give it a minute. See if it's worth it. Like Mafe, wait. Just wait. Assess the situation. Is it worth the battle? Yeah. That's really it.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was interrupting now. Oh.
I thought you were done.
I'm just like picking at you. I'm sorry. I love you. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just taking a breather and I really like what that Dr. Kenneth Miller said, that don't take like an enormous, loud, obvious breath that screams, I am trying to get a new technique for better listening. Just a normal breathe, just breathe and think. And that's what I like to do. I take a pause and there's stuff that's almost coming out of my mouth and I literally just hold it because sometimes it's just not worth it. Sometimes if you don't interrupt, it gives you a chance to actually think about what you were gonna say. And if it's even worth saying, is that even worth saying? Is that what's about to come out of my mouth gonna help the conversation we're having? And if it doesn't, then you don't. If perhaps it will, then you can go ahead and say it after the other person is done talking.
You know what you can say? You could just literally be like, I'm interrupting your interruption.
I know. This just keeps going.
Is it because it's perfect? It's fine. We're friends. That's what we do. Right in that moment when you're about to like lose it and you probably know it's best not to, just be like, God, give me strength right then and there. Because you're going to take those seconds to be like, God, give me strength instead of like at that person.
Exactly. Just take a moment. No, that's it. I was interrupting your thought, but
I know.
That's what I do. That's what I like to do. I like to listen because
sorry, after you're interrupting me and saying I love to listen. Sorry, carry on. It's funny, carry on. Sorry.
I think that our listeners have already picked up that I'm more of a listener than an interrupter during this podcast. Okay. During our everyday life, I do interrupt you a lot, but during podcasts, I
yell at me too.
Stop interrupting me. I used to do that. Stop bringing up the past.
That was what, September?
That was the past, Melanie. Yesterday was the past.
I guess that was the
Don't
past.
bring up the past. What did we just learn? Stop you tripping me into not interrupting.
It was so funny because you got so mad at JoJo.
I used to. Please stop bringing that up.
It was really funny.
So
I have that saved in a very deep
but let
memory
me tell
of
you
love.
something. Actually, let me tell you something.
Tell me.
And correct me if I'm wrong. When we have had issues, tell me if I've interrupted you letting your emotions out. Maybe like once, but my memory is otherwise.
I know, because you're emotionally very upset at the time. You're not gonna, because I don't remember interrupting people too. But
because I don't. Because I like to hear your thoughts.
We haven't had like a straight up argument in years though, and you've changed as a human since then.
Well, yeah, I mean we mature as we get older, but recently
we haven't fought.
Well, recently when we've talked about the podcast situation, we were getting some stuff settled.
Yeah.
I literally sat.
Yeah, that's true.
And let you get it all out, and I did not interrupt because I am a firm believer that when something is happening that the other person is upset, you need to let them get it out because that's the only way they're gonna feel better. That's the only way they're actually gonna be able to move on if they actually feel listened to. and not like attacked by their emotions or what they're feeling.
But are you really listening though? When
Yes, of
someone's doing
course I
that,
am.
that's. Are you sure?
Babe, you should know that. I listen to you and then I respond accordingly. You know that. Amiga, you're killing me.
I just let go of the little things. That's the thing, though. Sometimes I have to talk about it again in a different context because
But for the most
the memo
part,
didn't land the first time.
but let's be real. Sometimes you do say a lot of things. But I do try
a
to.
lot of things all the time. What do you mean? Have you
Sometimes
met me?
no, but like I like to address like the bigger things that need to be addressed right at the moment, and then
Yeah.
perhaps the little things can be talked a little bit later once the emotions
Yeah.
have come down. But with my mom, with our relationship, I remember a friend told me one time that like having a good healthy relationship with your mom, it's kind of like being married. She said it doesn't matter who's right. What matters is the other person's feelings. So it doesn't matter that I'm always right or that my mom is always right. What matters is how I made her feel at that moment or how the situation made her feel. So in that sense, I'm always like, okay, I need to listen to what she has to say because it doesn't matter if I'm right. What matters is her emotions. And those are very valid. So I like to just take a pause and just listen and then respond accordingly when I.
That's good. I need to learn to be more like that. I get mad.
You
I'm
have
like,
like
I need 5 minutes, and into a room I go.
That's okay too. That's actually really good too because you take time.
I do.
So you don't make the situation worse. Yeah. I think that's a good thing.
And I literally just take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing. I don't take an hour a day.
No.
Like, I actually just take 5 minutes.
And that's good because you gather your thoughts, you let it all process the emotion, and now the logical self kicks in. Now you can talk.
This is why we're friends for so long, and it works out really nicely.
I feel like our listeners now think that I'm just a jerk that never listens in any episode.
I need to listen. You're a very sweet person, actually.
Please tell the listeners I'm a nice person. I need this reassurance, Mel.
You are a very nice person. Are you thinking I'd do a podcast with you if you were not a good person that doesn't listen? Have you met me with my eccentricities? Like, I can't. That's the beauty, though. You have to accept your friends for who they are, flaws and all. But I still love you, and I find you to be a very loving person. Like, if Mafi does something that genuinely upsets me, I'm like, I cannot live with this that you do. She actually just adjusts for me, and it's nice.
Well, it's
but I also don't change you. Like,
no,
it's just like this one little thing.
No, and if that is something that I'm doing that you have noticed, probably somebody else has picked up on it, but doesn't have perhaps the guts to say or hasn't experienced me doing that often enough to be like, that's actually a bad flaw. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know that you're not gonna pinpoint at everything I do. You're gonna pinpoint it if it's like a recurring thing, and I'm like, okay, I have to work on that. That I know. Yeah, you're very logical in that sense too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, the listening that we do, because it's important, and we need to work on listening skills with our mothers and daughters, even though we're not mother-daughter here, but I think it works for most relationships.
This like took a turn, and y'all just got to learn who we are as people.
We just got like in-depth, like...
And who we are as a friendship, and I hope you guys can appreciate this dynamic we have during the podcast, because this is literally who we are in real life.
And we tease about interrupting back and forth. We do this all the time, but we think it's funny. It's not like it's not a passive aggressive like hint. Like, we just think it's hilarious.
Sometimes,
I do.
Sometimes I get a little mad.
Really? Are you joking?
Like, now I lost my thought.
Oh, that
way to go. Way to go. I lost my thought.
You know what it is? That it was a lie. Isn't that what you used to say to me, your grandma?
So for those of you that know me, I think I might have said this to you at some point in our friendship during our life. But my grandma used to say that because, I mean, she's still alive and I'm sure she still says that. But when I would talk to my grandma and I suddenly forget, she'd be like, that's because it was a lie. That's why you cannot remember what you were saying. You were lying just now. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then she would crack up. So I don't know if she was being real Or
No,
if she,
she's
or if
joking.
it was like a joke or like a,
It's a legit expression. Like other people have heard say this.
and if that's the
It's
case, you
because it
lie
was
a
a
lot.
lie.
You
Yeah,
lie a
apparently.
lot.
I lie all the time because I forget all the time. I really don't lie, guys.
I know she doesn't lie.
But anyways,
Okay,
going back to the listening.
let's.
Take a pause before you flip off on them if you just like can't handle it. You know, there's a psychologist that wrote "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff," and it's all small stuff. I liked the title of the book, hence why I felt the need to read it. But Richard Carlson said it's called "Breathe Before You Speak."
That's right.
God give me strength, and then just like that.
Very true.
It doesn't have to be an enormous, loud, obvious breath that screams, "I'm trying a new technique." Like you don't have to, because then that just you're asking for a fight. Don't do that, please, for the life of God. Just for the love of God. Why do I keep saying life of God? For the love of God, don't do that. Just a normal inhale and exhale. It can feel awkward at first, especially for people who aren't comfortable with the silence. In that case, you can ease into it with just an inhale. So, and why does it work? Why does this breathing thing work? I promise you guys it works. I remember I mentioned earlier I worked in school for 10 years. So I'm not a mom, but I have been with kids. The breathing thing works so much. Let me tell you, many times I felt like smacking someone. I can't smack them at school. This is not 1953.
Or
So
in real life, they're not your children. Don't be smacking people in the streets.
I can't smack children that aren't mine. So
Exactly.
can you imagine? Well, bam! Shut up, Charlie. But the breathing thing really does help. And sometimes kids also just don't communicate. They don't know how to express themselves well. People sometimes, there's a lot of miscommunication. It's insane. The older you get, the more you realize, my God, the miscommunication thing isn't an issue. So the breathing thing, it works because it stops you from accidentally interrupting whoever's speaking. The slight pause is a natural cue that they can comfortably continue what they're saying. In a way, it allows them to relax without the pressure of trying to get a word in. They feel more compelled to share their thoughts. Second reason is the pause gives you a chance to reconsider your own response. Remember, think before you speak. It's actually kind of true. So who knows, you might even decide to say nothing at all. So I guess follow up Mafi's example.
Yeah, just take a breather. Just let them get their emotions out. I think it's just easier to let them get it all out before you say anything. Just gives them a chance to actually explain themselves. And you know what, you may realize that you are actually in the wrong, and you realize how much you've hurt the person or how much you upset them, and you're like, man, okay, that was rough. So I think that's a good technique to do, what the doctor said. So number 8 or last one is use I statements when disagreements arise. And even if you have the strongest relationship with your mom, always disagreements, they will always happen. It's just what happens in life for all different people. But instead of blaming, you did this, you do that, using I statements, it's gonna be a lot better. So Heather Monroe, a licensed clinical social worker and senior clinician at Newport Institute, she suggests that rather than telling your mom you're thinking about this all wrong, turn the focus onto yourself by saying, like, I believe blank and I think blank, to diffuse the tension. So I think that's just very important. So just remember also that when an argument happens, it's very unlikely that any good will come from involving a third party. Like if you're like, I need dad here, I need my brother, I need my boyfriend, I need my husband. Well, if things are like that bad and it involves them, that's different. But dragging somebody else into the disagreement is just not gonna make things any better.
No, it can make it more awkward and weird, and then one person might feel attacked by their loved one. Just don't do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just it's just best to use I statements and just have the one-on-one conversation, the one-on-one relationship. I think it's just better.
Yeah. And you have to understand if your relationship is beyond repair or not, because these are just like basic tips. We're also not therapists. We'll like link this link below, purewow.com. It talks about how to see if when you're starting to tread on the toxic territory. There is a Dr. Abigail Brenner that says toxic people are draining encounters, leave you emotionally wiped out. Time with them is about taking care of their business, which will leave you feeling frustrated and unfulfilled, if not angry. Don't allow yourself to become depleted as a result of giving and getting nothing in return. So if it sounds familiar, it's a little bit deeper than just what we've been touching on. This stuff, we're gonna link it down below because like we've mentioned earlier, we're not therapists. We don't feel like we should be treading on this. And like, times are really hard right now. So it's nice to not sometimes talk about such heavy things and, we want to keep things a little bit light. If this is something you guys want us to explore the research of something specific, we're happy to do that in another podcast and another episode, just not this one. But we will definitely leave how many is it? 9 signs to look into to see if it's something toxic or not, if you need something more like therapy or extra help.
And like you said, we don't want to focus on the negative, right? We're trying to give good positive tips on how to better your relationship with your mom. But if you do have bigger issues, if you're struggling that much, and if you think that your relationship could be a little bit in danger per se, then you can go ahead and read the article, the ending points towards the end of the article. That way you can kind of figure out if that is your situation, and if you just need more help. Like Mela said earlier, sometimes going to counseling together or a little therapy could help out if that is the case. But just remember, our moms gave us life. They are the reason why we are here. It's just so important to love them, to respect them, and to give them the place they deserve, respect the role that they have, and appreciate all the good things they've done for us.
And moms, remember to respect the daughters that you have as their own independent people. Respect them, love them, support them. Just keep things balanced and healthy. The article that we were discussing is purewow.com. That's the one we'll leave with the tips for everyone to take a gander if they feel the need to look into it. Just remember that no matter what the case is, we will always love our moms because that kind of love is unconditional.
That is it for our podcast today. Thank you so much for listening. We sincerely hope you liked it.
We would love to know what you thought about our episode, so feel free to please leave a comment. Feel free to let us know what topics you would like for us to discuss in the future.
Please subscribe, give us a like, a follow, and or a star rating. Please, that will help us a lot. If you want to hear more episodes like this one, please follow us on every social media platform at Chatty Amigas.
Thank you so much for listening, Chiquis. We will be back every Tuesday with a tea.
Bye!